Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is November 24th, 2019. This is the Some Sort of Gaming podcast. We have, we have big news, not a whole lot of news, but big news with Stadia and all this people leaving Twitch and all that coming along too. But before we get going, let's find out what everybody's been up to this last week.
I'll start. So in terms of gaming, I was looking back at my Twitch archive, and apparently I only got to play one day between last week and this week. But at least I got like 3 games in there. So the first one was Old Man's Journey, which was kind of like this really simple story-based puzzle game. Essentially, the idea was like you were trying to get this old man to walk through these different levels, basically kind of learning different story elements on the way. There's like flashbacks of things that happened to him in the past and things of that nature. And the puzzle aspect of it was you could actually change the height of different spots in the terrain. So it was basically get from point A to point B, but the main character's path would be blocked with the exception of when you would change the terrain so that, you know, when one section of terrain intersect with another, then he'd be able to hop across it. But until then, like, you know, he wouldn't have any way to get to a different part of the map. So it's just kind of like chaining together a bunch of different pieces of the terrain in order to get him to the end of the level. And then it would transition. It would give you a little bit of story with like a flashback, and then you would transition to the next level. That was cool. It took only about, I think, 3 hours or so to beat the entire game. It's just kind of one of those little indie experiences that you run into every once in a while. It was really cool, though. The art style was fantastic. It kind of looked like almost looked a little hand-drawn, but it looked like, again, a living, breathing cartoon, which usually that kind of speaks to me. So I played that, and then afterwards I went back and played some Dragon Ball Fighters, specifically because there's a guy named Sam that just joined our team at work, and he's also a really big fighting game player. His main game is actually like Dragon Ball Fighters. So we were just talking about it on the last day of work last week on Friday, or sorry, it might have been Thursday or so, but he was kind of like, you know, going into detail about which characters are cool and how the combos work and all that kind of stuff, and it just kind of inspired me to play a little bit more. So I went back and just did the combo trials for Janemba, who was like one of the newest characters. I had just never gotten a chance to play as him. And Gogeta, who again, super cool character, super flashy, kind of reminded me of when I went to watch the last Dragon Ball movie, which I thought was amazing because of like the flashiness. Yeah, exactly. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah, so Gogeta's moveset like just kind of reminded me of that because of, you know, in general, Dragon Ball Fighters is just super flashy when they do moves. So I did that, and that was fun. And then I went back and played a little bit of Under Night, which Sharpie and I played in. It was myself, Sharpie, and Sage Nosity. I think we all played it together at Evo. And at some point, we were like, oh, this would be interesting to try again. And I think as Sharpie, you let me know at some point that it was on sale. I got it for like $5.
It was like a bundled sale.
Yeah, bundle sale. I didn't touch any of the other games, but I just wanted that because even that for $5 is good. So played that, and that was fun. I think I'm going to put a little bit of time into getting to know the game a bit. Like, I just played probably for about 20 minutes or so. So didn't really, it's not like I can claim that I can compete with anybody at this point. I tried maybe 2 characters or so. But that was it. Other than work just, there was a lot of shoots going on. So a lot of early days and late nights, and it's just kind of like, didn't have the energy to stream it by the time I was done, especially considering, you know, the next day I would have another early shoot or so. So that was about it. What about you guys?
Gaming wise, it must have been first person shooter week because I was playing some Call of Duty as always. I was trying to get my gun golden, the M4 right now, and there's a new shootout map, so I had tried that as well. You know, Call of Duty is fun and it's not at the same time. Also, downloaded Destiny 2 on PC this week, so I was like, okay, it took me a couple of days to get it downloaded, but when I finally did, I was like, okay, well, let me test it out to see if I can be able to play it. That's how I do it all, like, my big games. I always test them out and see if I can play them. So, I played a raid. I played a couple of strikes. I played Gambit, and I played the multiplayer version, and then the next day, my homegirl, she was playing Destiny, so I kidnapped her, and we did a couple of strikes together, and we played and leveled up my light a little bit. Friday.
How was that experience on PC?
It looks different on PC. I don't know if it's my monitor.
It's the same game.
It looks different. It doesn't. I don't know. Visually, it's the same, but it's. I don't know. Maybe it's the colors or the sharpness or something. Something is just not in a bad way. Just different.
Like, did it feel smoother?
It definitely was smooth. It was smooth. It was no lag or anything like that. I played Borderlands 3 for Grown Woman Game Night on Friday. It was like free play days on Xbox. So we played. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I did not enjoy playing Borderlands at all. It felt like a copy and paste of the previous titles, and when I knew I was going across the map just to go get a hanger, I knew it wasn't good for me. This game was not going to be good for me. Seems too fetch and quetchy for me, and I can't deal with it. It was fun playing with my friends, but I would not play that game by myself. I think that's all I did. Some exciting events, but nothing to brag about. So, but that's all I did this week.
The only gaming that I did was Death Stranding and Final Fantasy 14. But I wasn't able to play that much since I've just real life has been getting too busy for me, and I just feel tired and fucking, I don't know. I just feel more tired and just unenthused by like wanting to like play any games. But it was more like I was trying to wait until I had the time to be able to stream the story of Death Stranding, but now I'm just at the point where like I'm still on middle of chapter 3 and I haven't really touched it, so I'm just gonna like play it at my own pace and enjoy the story for myself. And if once I can stream it, then I definitely will. But that I'm still having fun with Death Stranding for what it is, and it's just nice to kind of kick back and play more of it. Like I said the same thing like last week, and it's like I'm just having fun just doing my own thing on it and playing it how I want to. But the more I delay on it, the more I'm just kind of like I'm not getting any story. So I'm gonna start doing more of the story and honing in on that.
Real quick, out of curiosity, you said I'm having fun with Death Stranding for what it is. What would you describe? How would you like basically say what it is? I don't know what that means.
Oh, like I feel like I have to put the asterisk on there for Death Stranding only because like it's not action packed and it's not chaotic and it's not gameplay action intensive. So for me, I'm going back and forth making deliveries and such, and when I say for what it is, I'm having fun with it and I'm relaxed with it, and I get to take in what the sights are for the game. So that's really it.
Okay, I get you.
Okay. And Final Fantasy 14, I've just been dabbling in it here and there, just because I'm leveling different classes that I haven't even touched, like Black Mage, and I finally got that to level 50, and I've just been slacking on all the other different classes. So, but soon enough. It should be this next week that I'll be playing some more games and I'll be able to get back into it. What about you, Sharpie?
All right. So to me, when I opened up Steam, right after I finished editing the podcast, I noticed that CounterStrike had a huge update, 2 years without any operation packs. And they actually had one, and they're actually doing it differently this time. They're doing it like how all the BRs are doing it, like like how Apex did it with the whole like the more you play, like the more you level up, and then the more shit you can unlock. Yeah, they're taking that approach now,
Battle
and
passes?
yeah, like battle passes, but they call it Operation Pack. The reason why they call it Operation Pack now is that they have new skins for that you can unlock for the character itself.
Ah, okay.
And like before, like, okay, so back before Global Offensive, like, Counter-Strike Source, Counter-Strike 1.6 and before, like you can actually choose like 4 different skins for each side, right, on any map for but it's like these 4 distinct like skins, and everybody played like this one called the Lead Crew when they're on terrorist side, because he's very thin, and he's like very camouflagey because he wore green and glasses. Well, he's in the game now, with updated skins, and there's like 4 different versions for each of those skins. Like there's like the master skin, there's like the whatever skin and all that, like, and I was like saying, oh, that's tight. I don't know if I want to buy it, but I want to participate in it. And it's really funny because when I started getting into, when I started playing it, like the way how you unlock these things is you do certain what do you call it, tasks, like that they give you, right? And one of the tasks is like, oh, get 10 shotgun kills on this particular map in casual mode, not competitive mode. And like, what's funny is that everybody has the same task. So if you're playing on that map on that mode, everybody is doing it, and they'll kick anybody that's not doing it. And so I was like saying, I don't know if this is like the right approach to do it, but whatever. I think it's like I guess like a fun way to release like a battle pack. But yeah, they have strange ones like those. Like they say, like, I don't know, like they had another one where they say like you have to get 25 kills in deathmatch mode, and I'm like, who plays deathmatch mode in Counter-Strike? But like that's what we had to do, and it had to be in one game. So I was like saying, oh, this is gonna be hella hard, but what I ended up doing is that I stayed in the game long enough where it like after the round ended, and then the next when it reloaded the map, like I was just playing it against a bunch of bots. So I was like saying, oh, this is gonna make it so much easier. So that's what I ended up doing. So yeah, Counter-Strike. Oh yeah, and they're gonna be releasing new tasks every week for like, I think like 17 weeks or something like that out of the 25 that it's going to stay up. I don't remember how long it's going to be up or how, but then yeah, they're going to be releasing new tasks. And yeah, I think the most you can get this, like the fastest way to get this is 10 weeks, like because you get 10 points per week. And so, and you can actually do this without buying it. If I do end up doing all 100 levels or at least 90, I will end up buying it. It will just unlock all that shit for me automatically. So that's what I was doing for 3 days. And nice. Yeah, and then I was saying, man, I kind of miss Counter-Strike. Just feels hella nice, like all these Twitch shootings and a lot of flick shotty type of things and recoil controls. But yeah, so that's what I ended up doing. That I also started learning After Effects. For rendering this podcast with a audio visual spectrogram or whatever the hell it's called. that I'll just start uploading it to YouTube, and I'm pretty sure some of us noticed that it started appearing on YouTube. So that's what I've been doing this week. Oh yeah, I've been also watching a lot of watching and reading a lot on like industries, like gaming industry stuff this past week, because there's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about this week. Or today rather. So yeah, that was my week. And we're going to be going on to the news.
What's on the docket?
So on the docket, some other big person left Twitch for Facebook gaming.
No way!
Oh
Who
my
could
God.
it be?
Oh no.
Disguised toast.
What was this disguised as?
A disguised toast. Well, anyways, yeah. So he that's a name that I've heard a lot, but I never knew who or what he did until I learned until like this news came out. And
Yeah,
I read up on like why that happened, like why he went into Facebook, and I don't know if anybody want to say what they think about this move before I give out my piece.
Well, I mean, I'm the same with you. I didn't hear about this guy until the headline dropped. I only know of one other person that moved over to Facebook gaming, and that was MySkirm. I only know him because he's a friend of Markiplier's, and he's funny. He's actually and he's nice to watch. But then he made a move, and it was this big thing. And but I just thought that Facebook buying out streamers, or I guess that's a way to put it, buying out streamers to stream on their platform. I don't know. It's the last place that I would want to go to like watch any sort of that stuff. So then again, I rarely use Facebook nowadays.
Okay, so here's my take on it after doing a whole lot of research on why he did what he did. Facebook has so this is gonna bleed into like YouTube and Mixer and all that too, but this goes along the lines of like Facebook is willing to work with streamers. A lot of partnered streamers on Twitch right now, because of the mass scale of Twitch. Like Twitch cannot handle working with individual streamers, like even with partner streamers, like to give them opportunities and stuff like that. And Facebook, Mixer, at least with Facebook and Mixer, as of right now, because the scale is pretty small, they're willing to work with streamers, like giving them opportunities to go out and do events and speak and do all this other stuff. That's why they're leaving. They're not doing it for the number of viewers. Viewers like come and go. So like what I also learned is that like sure, people are talking about, oh yeah, Ninja, like he lost like 80% of his viewers for moving to Mixer, or like Shroud lost like half his viewers moving to Mixer, and now this guy, like he only has like 3,000 viewers on Facebook, and that's slowly going to decline, right? And I was like saying, well, it turns out that it's not about the viewers anymore, right? Because they're given opportunities to actually do something other than stream, because as we all know, streaming games is kind of it can take a lot out of you, right? And then they're starting to grow older, and they don't want to be streaming 12 to 14 hours a day, right? And if you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, like you'll know that like the amount of hours working for amount of hours for the pay is not worth it. It's even better if you don't work and you get paid doing that, right? And like basically money working for you. So basically that's why these these streamers are leaving the Twitch platform, signing with with Mixer and Facebook. One other thing that Facebook has is non-exclusivity, and basically they're allowed to stream on Facebook and Mixer if all they want, or they can stream on Facebook and YouTube if they want.
Mm-hmm.
And Twitch, okay, so right now Twitch in the live streaming market, they own 75.6% in 75.6%. Mixer holds 3.2%. Facebook Gaming holds 3.7%. YouTube Gaming owns 17.6%. So that's one thing. However, when you notice that what do you call it, Mixer and Facebook have the same amount of viewers, or like when it comes to, like, the market share. I'm gonna post this chart right now by Stream Hatchet on the daily viewership. I just posted it.
Yeah. So there's a
huge growth in the Facebook market.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is because Facebook took care of user acquisition problems. They don't need to do user, like, it when you can say, like, Facebook streaming platforms UI kind of sucks. Like, I don't think anybody's going to argue against that, like, compared to like Twitch, right? However, UIs can always be changed, right? It can be updated. It can be. It's not as hard as doing user acquisition. User acquisition is probably Twitch's weakest point, and discoverability is also Twitch's weakest point. However, they're dominating the market, right? But
yeah.
I feel like that's going to slowly change, because it's not in Amazon's best interest to pour, money into, streamers this way. Because if you look at it this way, what is, like, how does let me see, how do each of these companies make most of their money? Like, let's look at YouTube first. YouTube/Google. What is, like, how do they make their money? Or most of them?
Data.
Ads,
right? Like, AdWords is the backbone of Google, right? So if you can own the live stream, so basically they're trying to break into the live streaming market. Ads can be worth even way more, because they do bidding wars with ads. Facebook, or rather, before I even get to Facebook, Amazon. What is their main source of income, or, like, how do they make most of their money?
You talking about? You said Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon.
Amazon.
I assume it's like their Prime membership.
Actually, it's their shopping platform, right?
Yeah, that's what they're based from. Yeah.
So
but where?
Yeah. So basically, they don't need a sophisticated CPM to get into to do because it's not in their best interest to, like, get their CPMs up for each of these streamers, algorithmically and all that. And this is also public information where where Twitch Prime is their biggest driver for Prime memberships. And basically they get most of their Prime subscription in results of Twitch Prime. Then they do for any other thing for Amazon, which is crazy to hear, but that's actually publicly it's publicly written somewhere. I forgot where it. Actually, I heard it from a podcast I was listening to, and what do you call it? Which is also why that Amazon would also kind of want to support Twitch, and what I mean by that is they're trying to support Twitch not from ads but through monetization standpoints, which is their subscription model. And they're less focused on owning the live streaming space. And that's different from Google's space, where they're trying to hold the audience because they're trying to get advertising revenue. And for Amazon, they're not trying to get advertising revenue. They're just trying to do it just straight up from a subscription model. And, Facebook, where do they get most of their money from?
I don't know, because I don't be on Facebook like that.
Okay, so
Well, if I had to gander a guess, the data acquisition
it's ads
and trading.
Yeah, so ads, basically the same thing as Google. So and they're gonna do so basically these and what do you call it? Microsoft. Where do you think most of their revenue is coming from?
Their software?
Kind of. They're also kind of ads too, because Windows 10 is also a thing, and then they have their own algorithmic thing too. But what I'm trying to say is, like, it's not on Amazon's best interest to basically grow out their platform like that easily right now, which is why Google and Facebook is really pushing hard to do that. And one thing that Google and Facebook already has is the hardest part in the industry is user acquisition. They already have all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch and Mixer don't. Where do Twitch people? How would Twitch people find out? Basically through another platform, right? Mixer, basically their market is very close niche to the Microsoft community, and maybe to like the gaming community, right? Or like the very small space of a gaming community. But like YouTube, there's like, okay, so here's some numbers with YouTube and Twitch. Twitch in 2019, like so far, there's 30 million daily active users. 30 million daily active users. And YouTube, daily unique users in gaming, not the entire website, just in gaming alone, 200 million daily active users. And the point is that what is the most watched game on YouTube this past 3 years?
Fortnite?
No.
Duh.
No. It's League of Legends.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah. So League of Legends is the most watched content. Like, you can go on Twitch right now and then you can see like League of Legends is like on number 1. So League of Legends, there are more people watching the World's Tournament on YouTube live than there were on Twitch.
Say that again?
There are more people watching the League's Worlds on YouTube than there were on Twitch.
More people watching on the platforms, or you mean more people watching on YouTube than there are users on Twitch?
No. The World's Tournament. The League of Legends Worlds.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying
there are more
I don't understand like the part.
So people more.
Are there more? Sorry, go ahead.
So there were more people watching Worlds live on YouTube than there were on the number of people watching it on Twitch.
Okay.
When it all boils down to it, it's just going to be the same pattern in the near future. Facebook gaming has been out there trying to scout some people to move from their current platform, which Twitch was. I know one particular YouTuber called iPod King Carter. He's NBA live streamer. He used to stream on YouTube and Twitch heavy like a year or two ago. And then he got signed to Facebook gaming, and the more avenues that we have to be able to display content creators as far as video gaming is concerned, the more people is just not going to stay with Twitch no more. And that's just the honest truth. Excuse me. Especially when you have other avenues that will give you a better deal than what you're currently dealing with. So what you're trying to say, Jay Sharpie, is going to be more people leaving Twitch.
Yes, and there's already more people already named, but like I'm hearing this from like people from like Slasher. I'm pretty sure you all know who he is.
I don't.
No.
Oh, the guitarist from Guns N' Roses.
No. Slasher. He speaks for like the gaming community on news networks and stuff like that, like mainstream news networks.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he's already confirmed there's like a few more people leaving the Twitch platform for either for YouTube, Mixer, or Facebook. He can't really say, and he can't say who, but
well, they have that right. They have that right.
Yeah. So, and okay, so now this actually kind of bleeds into Stadia, right? Where this is why Stadia is trying to be is pushing really hard into people right now.
Okay.
So
Why is that?
Okay, so the reason why is that so you know how YouTube has, I mean, not YouTube, Google has a shit ton of killed products. If you look at all those killed products, 99% of it are like one of those pet project-y type of things with no long-term vision.
Okay.
Like a URL shortener. Like, remember that GOO.gl?
Yeah, but that's also useful.
Yeah, I know it's useful, but like there was like no long-term vision for that or no long-term plan for it. Same with like, Google Allo, which was up for like 3 years, but nobody used it. And, it was like some dude's pet project that got a bunch of engineers and say like, yeah, let's just make this and see how it goes. Stadia was not like that. How Stadia approached it. So there's two ways how Google approaches things. One is just like, let's just build shit and see how it goes. Another one is let's make a plan and let's get key people from the industry, like big executive key people from the industry, and work on this thing. And then like work on it for like three or 4 years. And then we're gonna tell the people about it.
Okay.
So that's Stadia. They've been working on this for years, and this past like two or 3 years, they tripled the YouTube employment tripled, or like the amount of people working at YouTube tripled, and that's all a result of Stadia. And the reason why that is because they're trying to change how they like engineer, like they have to like do a lot of things. They're trying to make YouTube work alongside Stadia with that whole implementation system that they were talking about, remember?
Yeah, okay.
And what do you call it? What that means is like, so Stadia, a lot of people are talking shit about it now, and I understand why. I don't know if any of you were around when Steam first came out.
Yeah, I was there when Steam first came out.
Yeah, 2003, right?
Yeah.
And remember how shit that thing was and everybody hated it?
I don't remember people saying how shit it was. I just remember my experience with it just being that it's just clunky.
Or
but
like
when you look at just PC gaming in general back in the day, the only thing you had was CDs that you put into the thing, and not really like, downloadable games or like anything like that. And then still, if you look at the interface of everything for PC gaming or just PCs in general, it was either very basic or it was clunky because nobody knew better.
Okay. also remember back then, like you're thinking about it from the mindset of today, where it's just like, oh yeah, you couldn't download games, right? Like remember when we used to buy CDs? Well, back then, it says like I want a physical copy. That's how people's mindsets were like back then. Like I'd rather go out and go buy a physical copy. And this is starting to sound like Stadia, where everybody's like saying, "Yeah, I'd rather buy my own, keep my own computer." Pretty soon, I have a feeling that this is what's going to end up happening. Is like, remember those days where we used to download games? Remember when we used to have to buy $2,000 machines? I have a feeling we're heading into that direction.
So this is actually, I'm going to point this over to you, Unsheathed Productions, because you were saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah, that was my point when we were talking about it a couple of weeks ago. It's the thing of people not necessarily looking forward and just looking at what's going on now. So they, it's this thing of like, this is the way it works. I think the perfect example of that is like Blockbuster and Netflix, which is like, I totally remember when I was working the front desk at my college dorm, and like all of a sudden like discs started showing up, and I didn't know what it was, and then all of a sudden a bunch more discs showed up, and then I would hear people talking. They're like, "Nah, I'd rather just go to Blockbuster. It's like right down the street, blah blah blah." And then at some point, just nobody's at Blockbuster anymore. I think it's gonna be the same kind of thing.
No, it's already happening with
They're just
GameStop.
Well, no, I'm not even talking about like the discs. I'm saying even specifically with like Stadia and just basically other forms of getting your games. It's just gonna at some point, like everybody, exactly what you guys were saying. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, you remember when we used to download games?" Because it's gonna. I mean, it's the same thing with. There's been a bunch of like technologies that kind of happened with. I think it was sort of a version to like text messaging at the beginning too. It's just like I think just people have a tendency to not pay attention to the trend and just look at like, oh, this is what works right now, and there's no way it'll ever change.
Yeah.
But I think you're 100% right on that, Sharpie. And it's probably not that far off either. It's basically all it really would take, I'd imagine, is
2 to 3 years, at most 5.
not even that. I was going to say more like specifically somebody to kind of revolutionize our internet infrastructure. Like maybe when 5G comes along or something like that, at that point where like, it's not as much of a worry. Your internet connection is not as much of a worry as it is now.
Yeah. Another big picture a lot of people are missing, what I realize is it gets rid of the hardware problem that a lot of people tend to have, right? And what ends up happening is, okay, so a lot of people, when they own like a console, like we all own PlayStation, some of us owns Xboxes, some of us owns Switches, and we all own computers, right? Have you ever tried putting, like, if you played like games like Path of Exile or Eve or, like even Minecraft or what do you call it, like some sort of city builder, right? The more assets that you have on screen, the laggy, like the frame rate starts dropping, and it can't handle it all. And then like it has to also think about like, oh, like what is this car doing here, and what's the purpose of this car and stuff like that. It has to compute all of that, and that gets limit. And then developers has to start thinking about like how, like the lowest end, devices that people are having, like PlayStation has its own limitations. All of Xboxes have their limitations. All of the Switches have their limitations, and computers. It's like it goes into a wide variety of ranges. So they have to try to like say like, okay, this is going to be the minimum we were willing to go about this, right? With Stadia, because it's all on the server, right, through the cloud, they're able to compute all of this stuff, and there will be no limit for what a game developer will be able to do, because everything is being run through the server, and everybody's like all this information. Like imagine, okay, so I'm pretty sure we all know what Eve is. You don't have to know how it works or what kind of game it is. We all know it's an MMO. We all know like there's like these huge space battles and stuff like that, right? Imagine like a ginormous space battles done in real time, and there's no lag at all. You can be able to play on any device and be able to have like 100,000 spaceships all in one screen, and there's no frame rate drop. Not only that, being able to like stream that to YouTube live at the same time. Or,
Oh, yeah.
or even like a thousand people battle royale. You won't be able to do that.
I mean,
with,
there'll still be limitations though, like because
no. What I'm
it'll
trying
be
to say
limited by
is
how much data they could have to pass to you.
yeah, no. But what I'm trying to say is it breaks that barrier of what we were having.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm still of the mindset that there is going to be a hard divide between people that want a Stadia and people that want to have their own games and have their own hardware and stuff like that. And the way that the FCC that's not the FCC.
FTC.
Communications, internet, government for that.
Okay.
And fucking hey, the first I don't know, fucking it'll be pigs fly before Comcast fucking gives up the pay $50 extra and you remove the 1 terabyte fucking data cap.
I mean, but there's also like, I mean, I think I'm a glowing example of this. I think one of the things that we forget about is competition, and I said, my thing with Sonic right now, just literally like Comcast could not come anywhere near competing with what I told them I was getting from Sonic. So I mean, it's kind of like, again, it's like the Blockbuster example. I think Comcast won't give it up until somebody forces them to give it up. Which if these other these other like service providers come along and provide better connections for cheaper, and they keep losing customers, at some point they have to give it up.
I am going to tell you right now that it's going to be probably another decade before Sonic or any other type of fiber is going to be coming to my area, because if they couldn't even start fiber in the town that that Sonic.net is started
Sonic's
in,
from you guys. Yeah, no.
Like, I would kill for that. But like, okay, it looks like that everywhere outside of Sonic.net's hometown is going to get fiber first, or their service first. All right. I guess I'm still waiting and gonna have to keep track of my data limits and stuff like that.
Well, sure. I don't think anybody's really saying, and this is kind of an argument I made about Stadia too. I don't think anybody's really saying it's going to happen in the next like 3 months. Like, it's going to take a while for like things to start shifting, just like it took a while for Netflix to kind of edge out Blockbuster and all kinds of stuff. But like,
and also how Steam's friends list didn't work for 3 years.
Yeah, everything takes a while, but I think it'll get there. Somebody's going to break Comcast, just like people are kind of breaking like the whole concept of people buying TV packages. At this point, that seems to kind of be like falling by the wayside too, as now they have all these individual plans for all these individual like channels and things of that nature. It's all kind of shifting to like a service-based model.
But then, like, as like for Comcast to then drop the 1 terabyte limit for their customers when they implemented that like not too long ago, like I don't think that they're going to drop that anytime soon. And for the fiber aspect, I don't see it coming to outside of metropolitan areas, even in California, in the next decade. I don't see that happening.
Okay,
because that takes a lot of work and a lot of uprooting.
Okay,
sure.
So here's my here's what I want to say. This is an United States problem. The rest of the world, or most of the rest of the world, don't have this problem.
That is something very specific to point out. That this is a very much an American problem of first world countries.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not even saying first world, just like we're basically the ones that with the shitty internet is basically what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, other than
I
guess other than like Australia, from what I hear, on how bad their internet is.
Okay, yeah, Australia does have it pretty hard. But like our neighbors up north in Canada, they have really good internet, but that's just because like they are up in their game on the fiber stuff, and the two companies are butting heads at the moment. And it is competition, just like you said, but like, I mean, I don't think that this Stadia thing is going. It's going to be a slow climb for Stadia, I think.
Well, I mean, I think what I was trying to say and what Sharpie was trying to say is not necessarily like, it's not even that Stadia is going to be like the winner per se. It's just I
the
think
streaming
that this is
it's the how you get your content.
yeah. Because think about like this for example. When's the last time you thought at all about a memory card?
PlayStation 2.
They were totally like they were huge, basically for at least for me for a significant part of my gaming life. Have not thought about it since because all it took was like something to come along, whether it was like
a hard drive.
Internal storage, or whether it was the fact that now basically all my saves are on the cloud. Like stuff just shifts right under you, like, and it takes a while. But yeah, at some point it's just gonna be like we probably won't even think about it anymore.
And remember when
Well-
all of us didn't even trust saving our games to the cloud? Now we do.
Yeah, yeah,
I still don't.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I not that I don't trust it. It's just that I don't specifically do it. Steam like does it for like my games, and I'm just like, all right, you can just automatically do it, but I'll have my local saves. So, and like the PlayStation Plus, like I don't even use that service for the cloud saving.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
the
it's
only
just
time
there.
I ever used that, it's just there. So like I think more about locally what's on my hard drive and stuff like that. And rather like, oh, I'm just going to put it up in the cloud. The only time that I ever think about, saving stuff that's in the cloud is my Google Docs and stuff like that. But that's only because I want to quickly like send it to somewhere or, for a research paper or something like that. Like I'm going from one place to the other.
Yeah, and remember
It's-
those days, like when everybody said, like, yeah, I'd rather have it locally stored, and then like, but then the problem with that, especially in business and maybe sometimes student sharing, I don't know how college life was like or how documents, document papers were being passed around during those days, but because by the time I hit college, Google Docs was just coming out, and then like that's what we were using, and like back then, I remember when I worked for this export trading company part time, they were all these documents were all saved on this on a single file on a server, right? And in order for one person to open that file, the person that already has that file open has to save and close it, and then the next person can open it.
I've worked jobs within the last like couple of years that were using that same exact type of system. Hell, my last job, they didn't even think about using Google spreadsheets or docs to be able to share it to everybody that's in the company. They didn't even think about it. And I was like,
I mean,
why
in
don't
a
we
way,
just
it
do
kind of
that?
makes sense because you want to make sure that like 3 people aren't modifying it at the same time sometimes because
Well,
you have a paper trail of all the modifications.
Well, the little detail was that it was a company of or one station that it was like 10 people, so it was really small of us, but whatever. The point of this discussion being that like just technology moves and people move with it eventually, and they just have to or they just do accept it for what it is. I still really think that when it comes to local games and how you get your games, I think that it's going to be the service is there, but I don't think it's going to be a prominent service or market. I think it's going to still be one of those things of the higher echelon that is like, I'm going to stream my game out in the living room from Google servers or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Well,
Because-
think about this real quick. This is probably the last thing I have personally to say about it. But what about, I know there's the concept of having physical games, but Steam, for example, which we all use, like you only have, it's basically the same concept except for when you play it, it's on your local drive. Other than that, all of your games aren't really stored locally. It's not, I don't know if it's that much of a difference. Like if you wanted to play a game right now, you'd still have to download it. And if you talk about whether or not Comcast is going to be, they're going to release their whole lock on how much bandwidth you can use or whatever, it's still kind of the same problem. In the sense that like now
Except
if
you
you
have
want
to
to play a
wait,
game, if
too,
it's not
to
on your
finish
space, you have to
downloading.
download it and you have to wait. Yeah, exactly.
Well, the other thing I do want to say about the Stadia, and I'm sure that this is going to be a service or I guess a feature that's going to be removed at some point in the future once the infrastructure gets upgraded. There are 2 service plans for the Stadia. Am I correct, Ansheeth? Yeah. Okay. So the basic, which is the free basic, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the free basic, if too many people are playing on Stadia services, not one specific game, but on the Stadia services, you have to wait in a queue to play a game that you want to play.
Is that not every MMO?
That's not actually.
If too many people are playing, you don't. I know I've run into that in MMOs.
You
like when I
run
played,
into that depending on on how many
popular
people.
it is. Yeah,
okay,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But Tomb Raider, Red Dead Redemption 2, those are single player games. I want to play a single player game. Oh, I can't because too many people are playing on the Google Stadia right now.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean that's
in
true
that sense,
right now.
We assume that's going
right?
to go away.
So
Yeah,
I feel like that can be fixed.
It's just, it's not a good start if they wanted to make this a good example. It's not a good
Well,
start.
Valve had that same problem with Steam too, like in the beginning. Like remember, it's like saying, like downloading games and not owning a physical copy, right? And then like not only that, like friends, like most people played CounterStrike. That's the whole reason why it's like people were using Steam, is like they were like saying I can't even invite my friends. I'm trying to invite my friends. And then we're all like on Ventrilo, and we're like I'm trying to invite you, but it's not working. Okay, you're gonna have to type in this IP address through AIM.
How many years did it take
3
for that? 3 years?
Yeah.
That's going to be a hard 3-year struggle for Google then if this is what they're fucking going with.
Yeah, and then
It's not a good example.
Yeah, and then like yesterday, I was like searching, like was there a day where everybody hated Steam? So I was like looking online. It's like I was just putting in like Google search, like I hate Steam, like 2000 and something, right? And then back in 2008, like that. This is like the examples that I found, like everything that I just said. Or like these examples that I found, and now that I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely what I remember people were saying back then.
And I think that the other thing with this is that you're at the mercy of your internet provider actually being there for you.
Yeah.
And so that's why like having in our day and age of Steam and downloadable games or Netflix or well, you still have to download the game or the movie or the whatever. But if you already have like your 5 games that are downloaded, you don't have internet, it's like, oh, well, I don't need internet to play my game. So.
Are you getting it, Lady Infamous?
Getting what?
Like understanding it.
No, I'm just asking if she's getting Stadia.
But do you also
right
understand
now.
it? But do you understand what we're getting at?
Yeah, y'all spoke about it for about 35 minutes, so yeah, I understand. I do.
Did it kind of shift your mind a little bit? You don't have to be for it, but do you starting to
No. It's just for me. I'm just gonna wait until what Google develops with their products instead of just jumping in head first into a product. That's all. I'm not saying that it doesn't have the potential to be great. It's just that all good things takes time, and it doesn't change with video games as well.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah, I totally remember the Xbox 360 release was straight up trash. Like there was nothing to play on. I think like one of the release titles was like a Tiger Woods golf game, and like ended up being like a really good console, especially when they implemented Xbox Live and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, I guess my overall thing when I've always talked about it was just like not to say that everybody should buy this. I know I bought it just because I just felt I could see the potential in it. But my thing was never to tell everybody to buy it, but more so to not be like, oh, Stadia is dead in the water because you're treating it as if it's supposed to be console number 4 in the console wars. Because I don't think it is. I think it's just kind of a front. It's the first one that's kind of like pushing the new how games are going to be in the future, essentially.
Yeah, and then basically, like, remember about like 20 minutes ago, I was talking about like how Google wants to own the live streaming space. Stadia is actually an initiative to actually get that going, because for the longest time, Google didn't really have any sort of initiative to get Facebook gaming slash live streaming going until Stadia. This is actually their push, which is why that's why they're like investing multi millions, possibly billions of dollars into this, and this is the first time they're actually ever done that under YouTube. Like,
Okay.
try to imagine that. Like, this is the first time that they have actually done something like this, like an initiative this strong.
What about Google?
Well,
No, that's what I mean.
wait,
like,
what do you mean?
Google.
No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the website. Because they definitely were not the main like search engine for a long time.
Yeah,
I'm assuming
Yahoo.
that push might have been bigger than this one.
No, people are just using Google just because it was like simple, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I'm sure they.
Yeah, but then
I'm sure they pushed the
this
content
whole
like that.
infrastructure system, like what Google's doing with Stadia, there's only two other companies that can be able to do this. It's Amazon and Microsoft. Amazon with AWS, and Amazon with Azure. You guys heard of
wait,
that, right?
No,
Microsoft
you
with
said,
Azure.
You said Amazon twice.
Yes, Microsoft with
Microsoft
Yeah,
with
Microsoft
Azure.
was Azure. Yeah. I don't know. I've been reading Microsoft, Amazon, and Google like so many times like this past 3 or 4 days. So like maybe that just got into my head. But anyways, yeah. So Microsoft Azure and Amazon AWS, right? However, again, Amazon, it's not in their best interest to grow Twitch, like getting more users.
So, Disguised Toast left Twitch. What's next on the docket?
Oh yeah, something that I'm pretty sure, and I'll be so mad if all of one of you even disagrees, that a game that we've all been waiting for Valve to actually release, and it just turns out to be a VR game.
You might want to reword that, because this is not a game that everybody has been waiting
Oh
for.
no, well,
This is a game.
okay,
this is a
game
that
series.
People have been wanting attention.
Okay,
This is a game that people have wanted Valve to pay attention to.
a game series,
And we got HalfLife Alex, which is a VR game that's set between Half-Life 1 and 2. And as soon as the video dropped, I watched it and I immediately wanted this game.
Yeah, me too.
And I guess it's because it's running on a different system and because it's using the Valve Index. But the smoothest of everything was really cool. I have reservations about the walking though, because you don't actually every sort of type of walking or movement that they showed was you yourself moving forward slowly, and that, I mean, to this day I'm still getting used to that type of movement in VR, because I'm so used to
I assumed it was
teleporting.
on rails.
No, okay, so there's
You don't think so?
no. So they actually if you go to the Half-Life website, there's actually 3 ways of actually moving in that game. One is
Got it,
the
okay.
standard way of moving, like like a joystick, right? Another is the whole
Okay.
teleportation system. And what was the third one? Well, there was definitely a third one. I don't have the website up right now, but yeah.
Okay.
But there's actually 3 different ways for 3 different types of people that want to play this game, because some people, well, not me, but like, there's some people cannot handle the normal joystick movement in VR. They get nauseous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they say like, okay, well, we want to also implement the whole point there, and you teleport their system.
Yeah, and it's funny because
I
like
hate that
I don't get motion sickness or car sickness or anything, but as soon as like I use VR and I do the slow movement walking, unless like I'm moving my arms, then like I can't like I get nauseous because of it, and I think it's something that it's because it's something that's different that I'm not used to, and for everybody else that like gets motion sickness with VR, there's two games that do it right, and that's To the Top and Gorn. In Gorn, the way that you move is that you like, you know how when you walk, you move your arms back and forth in like a stride, that sort of thing. That's the only thing you do. You move your arms like that, and you move forward. And when that happens, it's simulating that you're walking because of your arm movement. And To the Top, you there are times where like if you will drop down and you'll be falling down, but if you are down and sliding, you can hop and do sort of hops, that sort of thing. But like you're also using your hands to grab and move. I think, and that's something that if people want to get a good experience with this, where if they do want to try out the this actual joystick walking, try moving your arms at the same time. And I think that might be a little bit easier on the brain. But the trailer was very promising on this, especially with the head crabs. Holy shit, that's gonna be scary.
Yeah, and it looks really good too. I mean, not only that, it still looks like a Half-Life game.
It still does look like a Half-Life game. I actually just thought of something about the engine version of Source that they are using, if it is Source still, because I'm pretty sure it would be. I have no doubt it would be. It would be, or that it will be. But I don't know. I'm really excited for this. And how many years since Half-Life 2 Episode 1?
13. Or Episode 1? Oh, probably like 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Did they have an Episode 2 or only Episode 1?
They had Episode 2. And that's like the
Okay.
reason why everybody's waiting for an Episode 3, because Episode 2 ended on a huge ass cliffhanger.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I am so mad that there's still not Episode 3 yet. Did we all of us play Half-Life?
Nope.
You never played Half-Life?
I got the orange box and only played Portal.
Never played Half-Life.
Oh, man, you guys have
I
no
started it, and it
idea
wasn't- I don't know.
how much we like. How much? I don't know about you, Zeldrick, but for me, like how much I want Half-Life Episode 3, or at least Half-Life 3.
So to give an idea of how, well, I mean, you guys, not everybody here has played it, but I was still hearing out like years before, where's Half-Life 3, when I beat Episode 2, and that was 2012. That was
I know.
7 years ago.
I've been hearing it the whole time too. Like
Well,
I
no,
know the whole meme of like it's taken forever to
Right,
get to Episode 3.
but what I'm saying is that like I was hearing it before that, and I had never played a Half-Life game, and I only played Half-Life 2 forwards. So, and then I was like, I guess it's taking a long time. I get it, like whatever. But then at the end of Episode 2, I was of the exact same mindset. Where the fuck is Half-Life 3?
Okay, well,
I think you have to play
Out
it
of
to understand like
curiosity,
our
why is that?
excitement for this thing.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't get the excitement of where's Half-Life 3 until that ending. And like everybody was up in arms about like Kingdom Hearts 3, and like how after 2 it was 13 years.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing, but like, you know, you don't really know unless you got invested into it and you played it. So,
Well, so when I was asking why, from the perspective of someone who's never played it, I'm asking like more so what was it about Half-Life that made it so good? Because I started playing it, and I think I might have played like 1 or 2 hours or something like that, and I don't know. It didn't seem like not to say it didn't seem like a good story, but in terms of like whether or not it was standing out at that point, I was like, this seems a little bit generic to me. Is it that you needed to play Half-Life, the first one?
I didn't play Half-Life 1.
I did.
I played Half-Life
Okay.
2 and Episode 1 and Episode 2.
Okay, so what is it about this game?
What I will say that from the beginning of Half-Life 2, it is a little bit of a slow burn, but it's only because like the very first section is actually teaching you about how physics work and the mechanics work.
Yeah.
And it
I
doesn't
basically
even
got out of the
explicitly
prison or whatever, and then I think there was a part where you might have got the gravity gun and you were fighting the monsters, whatever the hell they're called. But
Did you get to the train yard in the sewers?
I think I made it to the sewers. I'm pretty sure I
Okay.
did.
It's the story and the type of like storytelling because
There's no
of that
cutscenes.
time. Yeah, there's no cutscenes. So of that time, you are in the story. You don't break away from it, and they're talking to you and around you. And I will say this about my experience with Half-Life 2 and the episodes after that. When I first was playing Half-Life 2, even at that in 2012, I was like, I'm a little bit bored and it's not keeping my interest in it. But then as soon as I installed something that was called the cinematic mod, it like changed my interest in it completely. And it was very specifically the textures and just the graphical quality of it.
That was just on PC though, right?
Yeah, that's on PC.
The cinematic mod meaning. So that means that like theoretically, if somebody like let's say Lady Infamous or I decide to go back and play it, but I know Lady Infamous usually plays stuff on like Xbox.
So I got a PC.
No, I know.
You know,
but I'm
there's
saying, like, let's
Black
say-
Mesa for on Steam. Like it's a fan made game that Valve approved of, and they're actually selling
I
it
remember
now.
that.
And basically, that's basically Half-Life 1 using the Half-Life 2 engine.
Oh, the other thing is that there is a Half-Life 2, it's called Half-Life 2 Update, I think it is. Am I wrong? I'm trying to look through my Steam list because it was just there. Yeah, Half-Life 2 Update. And all it is it installs like high-res textures or something. Yeah, featuring beautiful lighting, countless bugs, bug fixes, countless bugs, and a brand new community commentary mode. So it does add some stuff to it, and it's officially a part of Valve and Steam, like a community-made thing. But even then, like, you know, installing some like the cinematic mod, I wouldn't exactly install the what's it called, like changing the character models of the main characters. I wouldn't do that. But at least the guns and the textures for the environment and stuff like that, I would definitely do that because it helped drastically. Aside from that, Half-Life 2 just as gameplay mechanics and the way that it tells the story and where you have to go, it's kind of revolutionary for its time. And it does have a gripping story as you move on through it, because I kept feeling like, even though that I've only experienced half the story of what's out, I was like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next?
So I guess like, just long story short, what I was trying to figure out, and Lady Infamous, I know you have a PC. I was actually half thinking about me too. Like if I played Half-Life, I might just like you play the orange box that I have. I think I still have it. But the question would be, I think about Kingdom Hearts, for example, and you know, there was the obvious hype for like the 13 years or whatever for Kingdom Hearts. And I think one of the things that seems like pretty unique about it is when you try to describe why there was so much hype, it's because it's like an action adventure story where you get to use Disney characters and you go through all these Disney themed levels and all this. It's like something where I think you can describe this is why people were so into it. So I'm wondering what that is with Half-Life, to say whether or not if Lady Infamous and I went back and played it tomorrow, are we just going to be like, I don't get it?
In Sharpie, you might
The
either
first,
correct
okay,
me
so
or add on to it. what I was gonna say. One thing is the characters are really likable, and that there's mystery behind what's going on.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't have to play Half-Life 1. At least give Half-Life 2 a chance. It's not a long game.
I think about it.
Yeah, at least give Half-Life 2 a chance.
I think about it.
And if you do want to play Half-Life, if you want to play Half-Life 1, I wouldn't. I mean, it did age fairly well for what it is, but I wouldn't recommend that version. I recommend you to get Black Mesa because that's just basically the updated graphics with Half-Life 2 graphics on. It's just Half-Life 1.
Yeah. Well, Lady Infamous, you tell me this real quick because I think you might know this more so than me. I'm thinking about Halo. And everybody said, like, Halo's amazing. It's such a great game. It's so fantastic. But I have no idea what the hell is happening in Halo. Like, realistically, I'm just walking around shooting a bunch of Covenant.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, in terms of, like, if somebody tells you the story is really good for a really old game, does that make it sound, like, appealing?
Not if someone, like, never played the game before. Like, with Halo 5, the conflict between Master Chief and Cortana went through the breaking point. So if you play like more than one of the series, you get a glimpse of what's going on. Not more so with the Covenant. That's just like a buffer thing you do, but more so with the story between Master Chief and Cortana. That's really the main gist of Halo series to me. The best part of Halo is I always play with squads. I always play Halo online campaign with friends. I think that's the best part of it. It's on Legendary.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of what I was like.
If you want to be crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking is like, is it just going to be I play through it and I'm going to be like, kind of like Halo. If I played through Halo right now, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is Halo. I kind of get it. But like, does the game hold up is my curiosity. Because I totally, to me, like when I watched this trailer for Alyx, the game looks cool as shit just on its own right. Like not even knowing not even having played the previous Half-Life games. The game just looks really cool. And I think it's kind of a good step in terms of, with respect to VR, having a more fleshed out, like, typical gaming type of experience rather than just having that sort of like super simple VR experience you get with like a lot of games. It looks really cool, but I don't know. I'm just curious, like, is it going to actually like kill the hype if I go back and play this game now? Because I'm going to be like, okay, well now maybe I needed to play it back in whatever year it came out.
How long is the game? Because is it a commitment game? Because if
No,
it is,
it's like 15 hours long.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Really? I would have thought a lot would be like a normal 40-hour game.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. What about if you were working? If somebody said like a 15-hour game is long,
Well, I
do you
mean,
think you would've
15
said,
hours.
yeah, that's long?
You spent about 15 hours on games, and that
some of
3
them.
hour, and then it's like 3 hours a day for 5 days a week.
Yeah, that's a lot when you end up having to like work during the day. Mm-hmm. Is basically committing to it, but that's
it is a lot. But like even then, you can for the total time is relatively short.
Oh sure, yeah. Compared to other games, that is relatively short. I think I'm definitely speaking for me personally.
Here's from HowLongToBeat.com. Half-Life 1, 12 hours just for the main story. Half-Life 2, 13 hours. Half-Life 2 Episode 1, 4 hours. Half-Life 2 Episode 2, 5 hours.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
All of those combined, not even 40 hours. It's less than 35 hours. All of those combined.
Yeah, I got a lot to do.
So that's 4 games in less than 40 hours. Well, that's like, what my point is, right? My point is that...
No, I get you. But anyways, the game does look super cool regardless. And I mean, where they showed the footage they showed, that was specifically the index.
Oh, I'm sure that they're using the index for their own game.
Yeah, especially with that whole finger,
but is it going to look any different though?
Movement.
What's that?
Especially,
they showed the individual fingers.
Yeah, individual
finger
movement.
Okay.
I think only the index can do that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it should theoretically look the same though, right? Not in the headset, but I mean, in terms of, it's not like if you buy the game, basically you're still getting the same game as me. It's just it'll look different if I'm using the Index and you're using the Vive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna
the
look
footage they showed in the
exactly same.
trailer is like that's what the game looks like.
Yeah. And yeah, the only difference between all of them is that it's just the finger movement, and then whatever refresh rate the two different headsets have.
Yep.
So yeah,
But it seems like it's on every dude. Okay, actually, that's one thing I did want to mention because I had no idea what the hell this was. Did y'all see that? What is it? When it was talking about when it showed at the end the list of all the headsets that it was on.
oh yeah,
Did y'all notice like they slipped the Microsoft one in there?
yeah.
I was like, I didn't even notice existed.
That's not even. I don't
Yeah.
think that's a VR headset either.
Mixed reality.
the mixed reality
It technically
headset, yeah.
is.
It is, yeah. But they're doing the weird thing where like they actually have multiple manufacturers and stuff like that, which I'm not a fan of. Because I'm gonna be pissed if like somehow
You got the bad one.
I get the bad one. I will be pissed. Because I know they have like an Acer one, I think, and then I forget what the other one. There was at least 4 of them that I saw, like manufacturers. So I was kind of pissed when I heard that about like the NVIDIA graphics cards, where they were like, "Oh, this one was like made by this company, and this one was made by this company." And I'm like, I just want to be sure that I'm getting what I'm supposed to be getting from my card. I don't care who makes it, but I don't
Right.
like the multiple manufacturers because of that. But anyway, that was interesting because I don't know if you guys heard anything about it, but I know nothing about like the mixed reality headset.
I don't know really much about it.
I don't have enough space for that type of stuff.
You mean like physical space? Yeah. I mean, you could do it like Zeldrick does for his Vive. He does like the sitting mode, right?
Well, I only do the sitting mode for like 1 or 2 games, but
Oh,
I stand up. I only do standing space.
Oh yeah, but yeah, you don't need to set out an entire space for your room though. Like it's just kind of like you're in the same spot.
like standing still
Right, well-
space instead of walking around space.
Yeah.
Right. The two being standing space and room space. And with the room space, you have to have a minimum of area for it. But if you have enough room to put like pretty much T-pose and then move all of your arms around
And flap it at the same
about
time.
your body, that too, and then be able to take 1 step forward and 1 step back, then you're good.
When you said T-pose, it took me a second to realize you meant just standing with your hands out.
wow.
But I thought like I'm a little teapot pose. I'm like, why do you care about that?
Oh my god, no.
But yeah, game looks awesome.
Yeah, the game looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm coming over to play it if you get it.
Oh, if I get the Index, yeah.
Actually, people who get or have a Valve Index get this game for free.
Yeah.
That's the cool
Yeah,
thing
so
about
you only
it.
need $1,000.
Yeah, you just need $1,000 and you get this game
On
for
top
free.
of a $2,000 computer.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
go.
Most expensive game on the
Too
market.
crazy.
Whatever. This is probably going to be a 2-hour game anyways. So,
I fucking hope not. It's worth $60.
well, it's 50.
Does it
it's
cost 60?
53 right now if you pre-order it. But who pre-orders games?
Yeah. That better not be a
Whatever.
2-hour
It's a $60
game, dude.
game.
That better not be a 2-hour game. $60. That's crazy.
I'm mad that this comes out in March because there's already 2 other games that are coming out in March that I want to play, and then Cyberpunk in April. Fucking 2020 is a year for games. Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all just have to wait for Half-Life, and I really hope you guys give Half-Life a chance.
I'll try it. I don't have a problem trying it.
You might have to push through like certain beginning parts, but
Uh-oh. Starting to sound like Death Stranding.
Stop it. No, you don't have to push through anything.
but what I liked about
already-
Half-Life is that it was a seamless story. It's not like there's no time jump, there's no like scene jump or anything like that. It was just like from the beginning, like you know exactly where you walk through till the end.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, oh, you enter a car and then like the scene cuts and then you exit to another location. Even going to an alien planet, they had like a way of doing that in Half-Life 1. I was like saying, oh shit, that's tight.
They had like a teleportation scene in Half-Life 2 for you,
Yeah.
right? And then you were just instantly
Yeah.
there. Like
And it had a story behind it too, a pretty funny one.
yeah.
I mean, Half-Life, it's an engine showcase game that did really well storytelling wise and gameplay wise.
Yeah.
Kind of like Unreal Tournament. It's not really supposed to be a game. It's an engine showcase game. Same with Crysis.
So God.
Yeah.
Anyways, on to the next part. We'll talk about that next one later. Amazon wants to start a streaming service.
Yeah, Twitch,
Yeah.
right?
I was just I don't know what that means.
either. Okay, well, I'm going to skip over that.
Who put that one up?
I
Maybe.
did that.
Hey,
I
you
did.
did
'cause it,
Oh, what is that? What does that mean?
Oh, they're starting a Google search. I'm sorry. Amazon's trying to do their streaming device services probably starting like next year. So I just put that there. So my question is like, is it really out here with the streaming services in the future? You think?
What do
it's
you mean by
more
that? What do you mean by
Wait,
streaming?
what do you mean by? Yeah.
like a video game streaming services? Just
Oh.
like Google.
Oh, the same thing like the Stadia.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. Like they're cloud-based
Yeah.
gaming. Yeah.
I mean, they have the
When did-
infrastructure
I
to
didn't
do
know
it.
about that.
AWS is a pretty powerful platform. It's just that Stadia's platform was designed from the ground up, right? Like designed specifically for Stadia. AWS was designed
Right.
for like server, like websites and like data holding and stuff like that. But they can change it, but it's going to be pretty hard for AWS to go through all of that. But yeah, I mean,
Does
good
it-
luck to.
Did you get any like information about it, or just that they're kind of thinking about doing it soon?
Probably within
Maybe.
within the next year, probably or so. It's in the beginning.
But it's not like they showed
mean,
a
where did you-
device or
No.
anything like that.
I heard it on an article on. Let me see. Let me look it up real quick. I think I got it from my.
Because I'm surprised I never ran into this, and I did massive research on what I told you guys earlier, like for like 30 minutes.
Is it because they acquired GameSparks? Is that like the article?
Probably. Let me look for.
Because I guess they were like a cloud-based gaming company / service, and Amazon acquired them. So maybe there was like speculation like based on that.
It's
let's
from
see.
GameIndustry.biz that they're announcing a game streaming service sometime next year to compete with PlayStation 5 and Project Scarlet. Scarlet.
Business Insider has a
Yeah, I see- I'm looking
article
at that one,
exactly like that too
Okay.
from earlier this year. Digital Trends. They did an article like 3 days ago. Yeah, so I mean, it's the competition of streaming services for video games nowadays. That's what the big thing is now.
I mean, somebody had to do it, and online did it. You remember that?
Well, Sega did it first.
Did they?
Do you remember
What,
that?
with the Dreamcast?
The
Oh no, no,
what the
it
hell
was
is it
on
called?
the Sega C.
on the Sega
Was it
Genesis.
the Genesis?
Yeah.
Dude, I remember what
wait,
you're. I
let's
do
see.
know what you're talking about, though. I remember.
I'm blanking out on the name of it though.
Like they had like this,
But they, like-
yeah, it was like a cloud-based gaming, right? I remember that. I mean,
Yeah, like you could like just log into their server. We actually got it when I was like a little kid, and you could just log in, and they had like I think it was like 100 games or something like that, where you could you just play them once you were logged into the service.
what,
It was
what the
crazy. Like
fuck
that was
it
way
called?
far like forward thinking.
Oh, it was called like
I
the
don't
Sega.
remember.
Shit. No.
There's like a shit. There's like a shit.
Hold on. Let me see. Let's look it up. The Sega Channel. The Sega
Yeah.
Channel. That's what it
Sega
was.
Channel.
Yeah, that's
there
what it
you
was
go.
called.
There you go. Yeah, but that was like so freaking long ago. Like,
1994.
yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Dang.
But I mean, that would be interesting since Amazon has like a large gaming platform as well.
They do also
I
have
guess they do.
independent studios as well.
Yeah, game.
What do you mean?
Amazon has a game
like,
studio.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Gotcha,
Google-
Indie
gotcha.
games.
Yeah.
Indie games.
And they also have Iron Galaxy. Like that's a Amazon-based developer company, and they took the head of Killer Instinct. Yeah, so like after Killer Instinct was developed and they were doing updates and stuff, eventually got turned over to Iron Galaxy. And Iron Galaxy is an Amazon company.
Oh,
Yeah.
didn't know that.
So yeah, they do have their own devs too. So this might be the competition that Google is going to face.
Yeah, well, I mean, Google also started up their own game studio too.
Yeah, and I heard that there was one in Montreal.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I mean, I think they're gonna face. The funny thing is, I think they're gonna face like competition from everybody, like because obviously there's XCloud, and I guess I'm sure they could warp. Was it PlayStation Now?
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll try to like warp that into some similar kind of service. But I think the funny thing is just like, who's the little guy that's always bringing up the rear? Good old Nintendo.
Good old Nintendo. Yeah.
Hear absolutely nothing from them. I'm sure they'll get to their service in like 5 years.
But it's actually, but then out of everybody that's getting into this, it's actually in Google's and Facebook's best interests. If Facebook would get into it too, but like if anybody, Google probably has like the highest interest in doing this because of ads. And when I mean ads, not from the games, it's game streaming directly from the server to YouTube. So you don't have to do any sort of uploading yourself or any sort of encoding yourself on your own end too.
So I guess the last when it comes to PlayStation does have their PlayStation Now service, but have you guys ever done the remote play?
Like without Now or like just
No, I know it exists, but I've never actually
I've
used
done it
without
once.
Now. I did it quite a few times with doing it on the computer, and just plug in my controller, and I'm able to do remote play.
Actually, I did that before I had a capture card that kind of worked with my PlayStation. Yeah, I remember doing that.
But they also have the remote play on the phone. So you could be out and about, and also, like, if you have remote play and have your accounts hooked up, you could have your controller with you, or even just use the touchscreen.
But can you do that with like your cell phone service, or do you have to be like? I would assume you'd have to be connected to the same network for it to be usable at all.
No, you don't have to. If you have your accounts and all the stuff linked up, you could be outside of your network, and you could, if your PS4 is on rest, you could turn it on from your phone and then start playing on your phone and using your internet, your home internet's upload and stuff to then beam it to your phone through like all the network and stuff.
Yeah, I think the only thing with that is like, I think the trend in the future is going to be like, you have to figure out a way to do it where people can use like their controller, a controller of some sort, because otherwise it's like, I think using the like touch controls is just not there. Even after all these years, it's just like not a very good command scheme. So unless I don't know, do they have like,
they do have
can
controller
you just Bluetooth
support.
your controller? Oh, there is Bluetooth controller support. Got you. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, then that's worth trying. Then maybe I'll try that too.
All right, cool. I mean, as a quick bit, Path of Exile 2 looked pretty cool. I totally didn't.
Well, I totally missed this
I totally
announcement.
missed this. Apparently, they had a Path of Exile convention, like before our last podcast, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, it looks way better than Diablo 4 to me.
Like in what way?
Like the amount of things
Like
that you can
graphically,
actually
or
do.
like just like a better
graphically,
game?
it looks way better. The feel of the game looks really like punchy. The skill tree is like you have to scroll with your mouse for miles just to get to the end of it. and it's like not even a tree. It's like
Is that a
branch.
good thing?
Or not even a branch. It's like a bush of freaking talent that goes in all directions, kind of like in Final Fantasy X.
So, in regards to the trailer, I skipped a little bit of ahead to see some gameplay, and my one comment about about how it looks better than Diablo 4, and I don't know if I saw this in Diablo 4. There's a very specific section in this trailer for Path of Exile 2 where you're underground. There's a bunch of like maggots and worms, and just a bunch of enemies on screen, and they're attacking and stuff like that. That was not showcased in Diablo 4 trailer, was it?
So this is what I this is what I mean by.
That's why
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
That's why I think it looks better, because there's a lot more stuff running smoothly on the screen, and there's a lot more stuff going on. However, the character movement and all that stuff, it feels more grounded into the Diablo 2 sort of Diablo 3 sort of aspect of movement and stuff like that. It doesn't look more like, I guess it doesn't look more like you're playing on a controller. It's actually like point and click. So
yeah. So so this is what I mean by like how Stadia can really help with these Path of Exile guys, because you saw like what it looks like it can do, right? And do you think like all these computers is able to handle what you just saw? Probably not.
If they're smart, then yes.
But you see what I mean? Like they want to do way more. Like I think that's what they said in the con, or maybe I just read that somewhere. But they want to be able to do more, but because of hardware limitations, they can't do that. And Stadia will actually help with that.
I guess so, but that's what graphic options are for.
No, it's not about graphics options. It's more about like what what this creature is hitting at what time and stuff like that, and they want to implement like each individual like hit as like with this with travel time and everything like that.
And are you talking about the power for somebody's computer or network power? Both. Okay. I stand my ground on this. Somebody with a 10-year-old computer should be able to play Path of Exile 2. These types of games.
No, but the thing is, they want to be able to do more, but they're limited because like they have to cater to those people.
I guess my other point, the flip side of my argument is, if you have a 10-year-old computer, you maybe put in a little bit more money to upgrade it or something. Not a whole computer, maybe like upgrade it a little bit, but I get it. Like they want to do more with it, and it looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just a quickie bitty stuff that I wanted to just go over real quick. Anyways, next up, the Game Awards.
The Game Awards. The topics got let out.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about these lists. Actually, I do have a big opinion about some of these lists, but I'll let you guys go first.
You guys already heard it from me. I don't really care about this stuff, so.
Lady Infamous, what do you think?
I already discussed this whole week. I'm just gonna roast it. I'm gonna roast it on the 12th. That's all. The video game awards is full of shit. I'm done with it.
Yeah. Like,
I like how you and I have the same exact opinion. Well, actually, no, you don't like it. I just don't care. That's a completely different thing. Where are you gonna say,
I've been that
Sharpie?
way the same way all the time.
like the only one that I felt like was actually a pretty good one, other than like one game, was the community support one. Like all of them did a fantastic job, except Apex, on like how like transparent each of these games are. Like, one thing I don't understand is, why do they include esports, like people and like stuff like that in this award system? That doesn't make any sense to me for a game awards. They already have an esports award. This doesn't make any sense to me.
I guess it's game industry awards.
what's the
Everything in
question?
general of gaming.
Like anything esports related or content creator related, like that, like Like I know all of these people. Well, maybe except like 2 or 3 of them. I don't know who they are, but like content creator of the year, right? I'm like, I thought this is supposed to be a
See,
game award, not like anything like industry related. Like they were talking about games.
my personal opinion about that is, I mean, as far as for the content creator award, I don't really think there should be that, but like if they, as like the board or the people that are running this and everybody behind the curtain, if they feel like that there are notable content creators for video games, then put them on stage to announce the next topic or whatever. Like, give them that, because that means that they're notable. And that gives them the spotlight rather than, oh, here's an award for being top content creator. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, if whoever they pick, like, does a great job, then yeah, recognize them. But for the most part, I just feel like, I mean, have them read it out.
Yeah. I mean, like, and like with the esports event, I'm pretty sure you never saw more than like 2 of them. I saw all of these from beginning to end. I watched the Overwatch League from beginning to end. I watched the Evo from beginning to end. Like even I had to because we were there, but we also had to watch like and we also got to experience it. But some of them, like especially the last day, we had to watch it online and sometimes in VOD format. The Fortnite, I watched it I think halfway through it, from the halfway point to the end, and then IEM I watched pretty much the majority of it, and I watched the League of Legends World Championship, and I watched I think the last half of the International, and I'm like, this is all cool, but I feel like this is hugely like game based, not like the event, because look what it says. It says recognizing the singular event across single or multiple days that deliver the best of class experience for participants and in-person fans and the broadcasting audience. So if you only watch 2 of these, you're clearly, or even 1 of these, you're only going to be voting for that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Right? I watched all of this. And I think, for me, the League of Legends World Championship is probably the best. In fact, it destroys pretty much everything else.
What are you talking about?
Isn't that like, isn't that the same thing for like every category though? In the sense that like if I'm looking at best game direction, it's like Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro, and Outer Wilds. How do I vote for Outer Wilds or Death Stranding or Control?
You gotta sign in. You gotta sign
2?
in and through your
not like that, but like theoretically, why would I vote for those games if I've never played them? The only one I've played is Sekiro.
Okay, well the thing is that I think for games, it's a lot more easier to see what the game is going to be like as a gamer.
Yeah, but that's like specifically game of the year.
But
maybe.
then like esports events,
but like if you're talking about more like, specific stuff,
very like event-based things. It's not about the game. It's about the event in general and how it was showcased.
You have to put a lot more dedication to be able to know these esports events or to watch them.
Yeah.
Than to say play or watch Control or Sayonara Wild Hearts or whatever. Like,
I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, considering like, let's say one of these esports events was like, let's say it's like a 3-day thing or something, and it's like, I don't know, 10 hours a day. That's 30 hours. That could be one game. Like that, if you're trying to catch up on in terms of like, let me tell you if this has the best art direction, or like, sorry, not the best art direction. Like, let's say it's or let's say best multiplayer game or something like that. It's like that could take a long time before you can credibly give an opinion on that, other than just like, oh, this is trash because I tried and I kept dying. It's still kind of a lot of effort, regardless of what you're doing. Honestly, it's kind of weird for me that a lot of these categories you can vote for as a person, like, on the other side of the internet. Like the fact that I can vote best narrative, sure, makes total sense if I vote for that. But like, I don't know, I can vote for best mobile game, and I guarantee you I have not played a single one of these games. I think none of us have, except for Lady Infamous played Call of Duty Mobile.
And
Call
I bet
of
you
Duty.
and I bet you voted for that because it's the only game you played it out of all of them. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why it's kind of weird in general. Like, I don't even know if it's just the best event thing. It's just kind of weird that like you can vote on a whole bunch of stuff that you've never even touched. Like, I've never even seen Sky Children of the Light. I don't know what the hell it is.
Like if you look at like
but
art
I can
direction,
vote whether or not it's the best
right?
mobile
Like it
game.
says for outstanding creative or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Like Control, we kind of seen that before with like, you know, what do you call it? What was the last game that they did? Yeah, Quantum Break. Like it looks relatively similar, so it's not like a technical achievement. Totally. Death Stranding, I mean, it kind of looks like, you know, Metal Gear 5 based on what I've seen. Like visually and like the technical aspects of it and like all that. Gris can be kind of unique, but painting, you know, I feel like I've seen that in games before, right? Sayonara Wild Heart, I don't know much about that game, but it looks like a cel-shaded 3D game. I'm not really sure what it is. Sekiro, like it looks really nice, right? But to me, it kind of, you know, gives that Dark Souls-y vibe, and you know, I feel like I've seen it before. However, like Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, like I haven't really seen like a plastic looking character.
Yeah, but that's just, I mean, I don't know, we're going now into the specifics of one category, but at least I'm saying like I could theoretically play each one of those for like, you know, 2 hours or something like that and probably get the idea of kind of like whether or not their art direction is cool. Even if it's not necessarily unique, you know what I mean? Like every movie that wins Best Movie of the Year isn't necessarily some brand new movie. It's just a good movie. So if you talk about art direction, it could just be like, oh yeah, well, it looks awesome as a game, even though it's been done before. But at least like I could get a little bit of a glimpse into each one of those games and decide that. But just some of them, I don't know. Some of them I feel like I shouldn't have the ability to vote on. Which I don't know how the hell you would police that other than like having a panel or having a group of people.
Or you have to
who
link your Steam
vote.
account, your PlayStation account, your
yeah,
Xbox
exactly.
account.
I don't know how the hell you would do it other than something like that, but still, it's just kind of weird. Because like a lot of these games, I think actually maybe not so much Zeldrick and Lady Infamous, but actually no, maybe even no, probably not Zeldrick, but there's a lot. I didn't get to play a bunch of AAA titles this year. So most of this stuff I know what it is, and I have not touched it. So like it's weird for me to vote on like what's the best. Like I feel like that's just kind of like throwing a bunch. It's throwing in a factor of maybe somebody can win that probably doesn't deserve to win.
Yeah, and then they also gotta like reword some of these things because people might think like, oh, the best music and best audio design is like the same thing. Right? Like people won't think audio design as like sound effects and like how they implemented these sound effects and like how punchy they made it feel and stuff like that. Like I don't think people would understand what audio design even means. They might think, oh, it's the same thing as music, right? Like,
well, I mean, here's the question that because I don't pay attention to this stuff usually, but the popular vote, how does that factor in terms of the final vote?
Yeah, that I don't know.
Is it? Yeah, because I'm curious if it's like, you know, if it's kind of like our political system where there's a popular vote, but there's like something where quote unquote the experts can basically win over the popular vote. Because then it would kind of make some sense for me. Because then I'm like, all right, well, some people who probably like have a bit more knowledge than me are making the final decision. But I feel like if it's like, you know, if it's the mob mentality, you're probably going to know who wins in every single category. Like it's probably going to be Death Stranding, I'm sure, for Game of the Year for some reason.
I can no, just by watching like, you know, clips
COD.
of the game, I know that this is not going to be as great as Metal Gear Solid, right? Like the first, at least with the first 3 Metal Gear Solids, because
well, it's a different style of game.
I mean, the fact that it's open world,
Metal Gear Solid
and it's
is
not
definitely
like
an action game.
Storytelling.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking what like Zeldrick was saying earlier. Like, it's not really. It doesn't seem like it's really that much of an action game. At which point, like, if it's a long game, if you think about it, a game that's like extended over a long period of time, if you have a lot of stuff going on, it could probably keep you focused more so than something where like there's a long period of time, but like it's more slower paced and I don't know. That's why I would assume people say, "Oh, Metal Gear is probably going to be better because it's probably a lot more quote unquote happening in Metal Gear."
Yeah, well, not only that, like there's also,
keep your attention.
it's not like a wasted effort. It's not a bunch of fetch quests or anything like that. It's just like saying, here's a story, and there's a reason why you're actually going through this path.
And then here's 2 hours of fucking cutscenes.
No, but did we all play the first Metal Gear Solid
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did
all the
yeah.
way through? Remember how that was? It's not like a whole bunch of side missions. It's just a straightforward story with, it had actual like unique gameplay. It actually had a fun story. It had really good voice acting. Like the pacing was really well done.
It felt slow to me, but I also didn't play it when it came out. I played it probably like 10 years later.
Did you play the original
Well,
PlayStation version, or did you play Snake Eater? Or no, not Snake Eater.
No, I played the original version.
The GameCube version. I mean,
My roommate was like a massive fan of Metal Gear, so he had all of them. I didn't. That's the only one I played because I just didn't have time. I think I was doing whatever that game subscription service is. That's kind of like what Netflix used to be.
Gamefly.
Gamefly, there you go. I was doing that, so I was just like burning through games, so I didn't get to play the rest of them. But one is the one that I definitely made it through.
yeah.
It's a great game, but it just did feel slow at times.
But like the storytelling was
crawling
really well done, right? Like the pacing of it and all that, and then the character development.
I don't really
like
remember. I
Sniper
don't know.
Wolf and Liquid
Yeah.
Snake and all that, and then like it's very relatable, kind of, because it's like military, right? Like it's like very American military system, and it's very political, right? Like it actually had like it felt like the real world.
Yeah, but I will say this, with my experience with Death Stranding, it's not the optimal way to play it for like 99% of people.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Because I'm doing a lot.
When I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish right after this. My thing with Death Stranding is, and same with Metal Gear Solid 5, is that like it was just open world, and then like the directions, like there's no actual storytelling element to it other than go do that if you want to.
Yeah, I get what you're saying right there. The other thing is that as far as for it being relatable, when Kojima makes a story, he nails that fucking dead horse on like over and over and over again, and like that's been a fact for like past few games of his. But like this one is in Death Stranding, it is also still relatable when you are you're paying attention to the story, and you're also reading these interviews and paying attention to what happened and what the world is and what it was and what it turned into, because it's very much of what we face today. And so I
don't know.
I would have to give it to that.
I don't know about that because I haven't played it yet, but I'm waiting for the PC version now. So it's gonna be a while.
But yeah, I think a lot of these games, or a lot of these categories, like for example, the mobile games one, like I when I saw all these, I was like, oh man, what's Grindstone? I can't download it because I don't have an iPhone. So it's the same thing with Sayonara Wild Hearts, but then again, if you have a Switch, then, or it's also on PlayStation as well. I saw it at the Day of the Devs running on a PlayStation, I think. Anyways, whatever. But like, yeah, I mean, what if you didn't play all these games, or you didn't have the accessibility to play all these games? Of course you're going to vote for the one that you could play or you know of. So.
Yeah. Not only that, like, here's another one that I also have beef with. Like, if you go to like role-playing games, like, why is Final Fantasy 14 in there along with, all these other games? Like, I feel like that should be separated because it's like the only game that's considered an MMO.
Well, it's because even though that it is an MMO, like, yeah, MMORPG, but when you take like other MMOs that are out there. Like, it's not action based, and it's also very notable of a game that is an RPG. So I would say that it fits right there to be there. I mean, we do have Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76, and those are MMOs, but Fallout 76 is more, of a shooter. Elder Scrolls Online, while it is an RPG, doesn't have as much of a popularity and as much numbers as Final Fantasy 14. And it's an RPG through and through.
Those are all dramatically different games, by the way. So I don't know if I'd think like, oh yeah, this one kind of doesn't fit. Like, they all are completely different games.
Is Elder Scrolls Online very, very different?
No, sorry. I was saying the role-playing game category.
Oh,
like
okay.
If you say like, yeah, we should take out 14 because it's like an MMO and it's like way different. Those are all completely
They're
different
all
games.
different types of RPGs. That's the thing. Yeah. Monster Hunter World Iceborne is like more. People would argue that is more action than it is RPG. But
yeah, totally.
It is still a rich player customization and progression into a massively multiplayer experience. Kingdom Hearts 3 has no multiplayer, but it is still character customization and progression. The Outer Worlds is character customization and progression. Disco Elysium doesn't have our MMO aspects or role-playing or online aspects or whatever. It still has the character customization and progression. The only one that does have the massive multiplayer experiences, or including that, is Final Fantasy XIV and Iceborne. They just all have the first two things.
I just noticed something. The family game category, it's only Nintendo games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
It's only Nintendo games.
It's like, where else are you going to pull from? The fighting game category is actually interesting, too. Because, like, I don't know, there's some clear losers on that list.
Oh, yeah.
Like, not that they're
because
bad
the clear
games,
winner
like,
is Jump
Dead
Force,
or Alive
right?
6 has no chance. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nobody's coming anywhere near beating Jump Force. Yeah, Jump Force doesn't have a chance. Dead or Alive 6 doesn't have a chance. I'm guessing Samurai Showdown probably doesn't even have a chance.
If anything, that's probably
it's probably going to be
on
either
the
like
list,
Mortal
right?
Kombat and Smash. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Although I have a feeling
It's either Smash Brothers or Mortal Kombat, then 11. Oh, it probably will. If I had to guess, I would guarantee that it would be like Smash. Because there's just so much there.
Yeah. I mean, you have the numbers of a lot of people.
And the way how they did the
play
announcements
Super
for
Smash
that
Brothers.
game, God, that's just like the way. That's good marketing.
They do really good marketing for that game.
Is Jump Force a good game, Lady Infamous?
No, not the story.
Of course
Did
not.
you
the
try
story.
playing
It's an
online?
anime.
I didn't play online.
Oh. Why not?
I was just.
That would have been interesting to see, like, what the actual competition is
I
like.
didn't get a chance to do that yet. I was trying to beat the game, but I didn't get the chance to do that.
You got bored
Did
beating the game.
Did you actually have fun playing the game though?
When I was fighting, yes. But in between
Was it like the story parts?
yeah,
or
you
something?
gotta rescue somebody. You have to rescue someone, grab their cube, come back, recruit them, and they'll be on your roster. And that's how it was for like the first 4 chapters. I'm like, man, I can't do this shit.
Wait, is that like time consuming or
Yes,
something?
it is.
Like the oh really?
Did it feel like a chore?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's no good. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't think that has a chance. It's interesting. Like, I don't know. Yeah, that's funny. Family Game is literally like Mario or Luigi's face is on 3 out of 4 of those pictures. And then the 5th one doesn't have those two, but it has Yoshi. The only one not in that universe is Ring Fit Adventure, which actually might win. I don't know. Maybe Mario. No, probably Mario Maker 2, I'm guessing. But anyways, I guess we'll see. I'm probably not gonna watch. I'll probably look to see who won at the end, but I don't know. I think I'm like Zeldrick, and I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice if they gave us a reason to care, though. Like if they somehow made it to where like it felt like, I don't know. Maybe it's because when I look at this list, even in terms of games of the year, when I look at the list, I'm like, I don't know why a lot of these games are on here. And then some of them, like, you know, Death Stranding, which again, not to say it's a bad game, where it's like, I'm still like, why is it on here? Or Control, I'm like, why is that on there? And they could be great games, but just the fact, I feel like the fact that they came out and you heard almost nothing about them, it's like Control, not Death Stranding, but it's like, how good could it have been?
Because look, but you gotta understand also as well that Kojima is on the advisory board. Jeff Keighley is his homeboy, and he is the founder of Video Game Awards. So he may not have definitive choices of what games be nominated, but he does have a strong influence. That's why I don't give a fuck.
Did you see that? Did you see that picture?
Come out and say,
it's like a 4-panel comic-like picture where it says the winner of the Game of the Year is, and he looks at the ballot and it says Sekiro. He only
I put that.
It's Sekiro.
And he says Death
Yeah,
Stranding.
Lady Infamous posted that. Yeah, but I mean, I guess he did make a public statement saying like, "Yo, I don't have any influence on it. Like, it's not, even though I know and I'm friendly with Kojima, like, the fact that we have that relationship isn't influencing why his game is on the top of the list. Well, it's on the list anyway. It sounds like he doesn't vote at all for it. Which, I mean, I don't know if that changes anything. Maybe
look, I
the
just
people
went to
who
the
do vote still
advisory
have like
board page, and it says Kojima as a founder.
I just said that.
Yeah.
Oh, founder for freaking his productions. Okay, that makes sense. Because
Okay.
Lisa Su is not the CEO of the Game Awards. Lisa Su is the CEO of AMD. That makes sense. Okay, I thought it's when I was looking through it, I was like, Kojima's a founder, like the founder of the Game Awards. It's like saying, oh no, it's just the founder of Kojima Productions. Man, they gotta redo their UI design, all of this, because seeing all the purple stuff on the stuff on it, it's actually for the company in white text. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask y'all, just based on what you would have to guess, just at obviously the main topic, Game of the Year. Who do you guys think will win?
Death Stranding. That ain't.
I don't think it's gonna win. I don't think that. But it's probably.
I totally think it's gonna be RE2.
It's gonna win.
I think it's RE2.
I think it's Outer Worlds.
You think so?
For Game of the Year?
Game of the Year.
Well, it's okay. Is that your Game of the Year? Or is it
my Game of the Year?
Is it because you liked it the most? Oh, okay.
But what do you think the majority is?
That's what I'm saying.
Because I have a feeling it's between.
You think the
that
majority
game
Worlds,
show is rigged. So Shakiro died twice. It's the legitimate Game of the Year. That it should win. Yeah.
You think so? Really?
Everybody got on that. Everybody raged on that.
Well, people
that is
also
true.
wanted easy.
I still
mode
think
in
there was
that
more
game,
of like
too.
people on RE2 though.
People want.
Like a lot of people, I think the definitely the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, that crowd came out for Sekiro,
Yeah.
100%. I feel like everybody came out for RE2 though.
I just don't think it's Death Stranding. That's what I don't think.
I also don't think
thing
remakes
is
should be
that-
on this list.
I agree as well. I don't think it should. No,
Really?
it shouldn't.
I
it should not.
highly don't.
What about-
think
what about
remakes
when,
should exist on this list?
What about when Final Fantasy VII remake
It
comes
shouldn't
out?
be nominated.
You think
Nope,
it shouldn't?
It should not.
It
Really?
should be. It still should have a chance at a spot to it because it's a completely different game from the original.
Yeah, it's not. It has the same name and it probably has the same story, but it's still a new game. Like I mean, I guess in the same way.
Well, yeah, I
that
guess if
would
you
mean to
reskinned
me-
everything and call it something else, it would still
if
be
it was
a
like
different
yeah,
game.
if you just
yeah.
up-res it or something, then yeah, that shouldn't be on there. That's just silly. But I mean, in the same sense, if you made that claim, you also have to claim, for example, that Smash Brothers Ultimate shouldn't be
I
on the
agree
list.
as well. It shouldn't be up in there either. But it's a video game war.
But why though? Okay, so if you can think of, you don't have to think of 6 or 5, but like what else would you put on that list besides Outer Worlds?
Indivisible.
And Sekiro, I guess. You
That's
seem
just
cool
me.
with that.
Indivisible could be good. Devil May Cry 5.
That's somewhere. I think it's
I
best
don't know if
action.
Yeah,
Devil May
but-
Cry
might be on
5 would
there.
be Game of the Year. It's very good for the fans, and it's very good for what it was.
I'm just
but-
saying it to be nominated. Just to be nominated. Just for them to be nominated would have been great. Because,
So for you, you're already sold on Sekiro?
yeah, if I have to.
Did you play Sekiro?
No, but I watch a lot of people play it. I'm not trying to lose. I'm not trying to lose my controllers right now. I ain't trying to lose my controllers. I messed
Yeah,
up my.
yeah. I know
I
what you
messed
mean.
up my Elite 1 playing Dark Souls. So
Yeah.
The thing about Sekiro, from what I've heard from 100% of people, a lot of people that have played the Souls series in the past, is that Sekiro has no replayability, and that's a kind of a death sentence.
That's crazy for one of those types of games.
It's
'cause
really
people love
crazy.
replaying those games.
Yeah, so the fact that it does not, for a lot of people to say that Sekiro
How
has
does it
no
not have a
replayability,
replayability?
because when you
might
play
do
Dark
everything the
Souls
first
1,
time,
2, or
right?
what?
You might end up playing everything the first time through, right?
What do you
Isn't that kind of why like there's the replayability? Obviously, you can like kit out your character a little bit differently and like so that the game plays differently. But I've also feel like a lot of people play those like the Dark Souls and stuff like that multiple times because there's like, oh, I didn't fight this mini boss or I didn't fight that.
No,
Is it not
like
that?
It's mostly because in the Dark Souls 1 through 3, you have different builds you can make, and
Yeah,
you can be a mage class, you can be a fast class, you can be a heavy hitter class, you can
Sekiro's
specialize
just
in this
one.
type of weapon. It's one weapon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And even though that with Sekiro there are like hidden bosses or whatever that you can't go back to once you pass a certain point, like that's the most that you go back to from the beginning to do is fight some other bosses that you just didn't, that you missed. That was it.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
but I mean, I feel like that on this list, Super Smash Brothers should totally be on this list.
I agree too.
I still feel like that Resident Evil 2 should be on this list too, because I mean, yes, it was the first and only time that I played Resident Evil 2, but it's different from the original.
Isn't that like the dude with the metal face or whatever? He's not even in the original Resident Evil 2, right?
Mr. X?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't think he is.
I don't know anything about that. Like
I'm pretty sure that is a dramatically different game than like the original Resident Evil 2.
I'm
Like I don't even remember like maybe wait, did anybody play it? Did you play it,
Wait,
Lydia?
can you repeat it for me, please?
Resident Evil 2? The original.
I didn't
No?
either.
Okay.
I didn't have a
'Cause I'm trying to
PlayStation
remember.
1.
I started.
I never owned a PlayStation.
Did you do you remember the beginning of Resident Evil 2, Zeldrick? The remake?
from which perspective?
From the new one. Oh,
No,
sorry.
no.
I guess Leon.
From Leon? Yes, you were
Because,
you were a big tanker truck, and
Okay, so it does start out the same. It crashes, catches on fire. There's zombies. You go into
and
some
you're at the
like
gas
bar
station.
or something. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I was just curious if it actually started out the exact same way.
It started
Because I
out-
played the beginning of RE2, the original.
Okay, so and then when you switch over and you play as Claire for the second run, it kind of like skips a lot of the
Don't you go
intro.
down an alley or something like that instead of like going over where the truck is on fire? You like go a different path, right?
You're in the middle of a burning street.
But with Claire?
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. And then you
maybe
make
that's
your
where I
way through
started.
and you get to the outside of the police station. But here's the thing. I'm looking this up real quick. Resident Evil 2, the original, 1998. He's originally called the T-00. So
But does he look the same?
almost.
Oh, okay.
They
I didn't know
look
that.
identical, except that and that's where that meme came out. And when the remake came out, it was like, what would we make different about Mr. X? Oh, we just put a hat on him. That's all they did. They just put a hat on him.
Okay. All right. Well, I, for some reason, I didn't remember ever hearing about him, even though I've like heard a lot about Resident Evil 2. I've also never watched like a full playthrough of like the original. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I was like right before we end, like you know what I was just thinking about, like why I thought Metal Gear Solid 1 on PlayStation was so great. Oh, I played that on the PlayStation 2, by the way. I was a late bloomer myself, but what I liked about Metal Gear Solid 1, like back to it, was like remember like Psycho Mantis, like you have to like put the controller on the second slot.
The
and
controller.
then, like,
yeah.
they had like all these crazy things like saying I don't like remember when the colonel was like, I don't remember what Meryl's like or whoever it was like codec number was, like frequency number. You have to look at the back of your case, and you literally had to look at the back of the game case on one of the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I remember that. They went a little crazy with it in a good way.
Yeah. I think the
I just looked at the original Mr. X.
yeah. See.
He's hilarious. Wait, sorry, go ahead.
But the only way that we get that sort of thing now, is with is PC games strictly, where like I guess Undertale is like the best example to because most people have played it, where you get to the end when you're playing it on PC, and then there's dialogue that happens, and you get to the ending sequence, and it kills the game, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? So you then go to load the game back up, and then now you're at that load point, but there's story and dialogue context for what's going on. And there's other indie games where you actually have to look within your files within the game directory to figure out what the hell's going on and stuff, or to get some sort of clues or something like that, or to progress. And honestly, I wish games did that. It's kind of like how Metal Gear Solid 1, how it's like, oh, like put your memory card in the other slot, or, you know, hook up a different controller, or change player number on the controller or some shit like that.
You know what I was thinking about with,
you know,
with games, with things like Stadia, like they can make a game where it says like, okay, you have to go on Google Maps, right? So you have to like exit out of the game, and then like it actually recognizes because your account is linked to it, and then it's like saying, okay, now what do you see over there in Google Maps? It could be like a Carmen Sandiego game or something. You know what I mean?
That'd be good. That would be good. But I guess it is that the technicality for an ARG?
I don't know.
I guess technically it would be, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there should be a little bit more of that. And there's a lot of creativity that you can go with that sort of thing. I think that games that do on PC that do that sort of thing, with like Undertale, and it kills your game, and then you load back, like that sort of thing, where you actually have to deal with your files and stuff, not extensively, like very minimally. I like that sort of thing because it really takes you out and kind of like it confuses me sometimes, but it's also is sort of investigative and kind of has this sort of disconnect with it's a really weird feeling. I don't know. Did you guys play Undertale?
No.
Yes, twice.
You played it on you
I
played it on
started
PC?
it, but I didn't finish it.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
I mean, Nier Automata did something like that too. It deletes your game if you choose to at the end of the game. Like you got a huge reward.
But that's
something like that. Spoiler alert.
But that's something different. That's something different. I mean, like there were a couple games that did. Actually, the first Nier did the same thing, but
I actually never
mean,
played.
Other games could do the same
ones,
thing,
so I don't know.
Oh, I think Dead Space 2 might have done the same thing.
I don't remember that.
Or
I didn't play 3. I played
remember
1 and
that
2, but I don't remember. I didn't play 3.
there's a couple of games where, like, if you played it on Doom 2016 did this, where if you died, it was permadeath and it deleted your save.
Oh, kind of like Iron Man on XCOM then.
Essentially, yes. But, like, I mean, what I'm getting at is that we already have that sort of thing already. But I think, that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, well, anyways, let's start wrapping it up. Let's start off with what everybody's going to be up for the next week and their socials. Anybody want to start?
I'll go, because I went last in the beginning. Anyways, I'm gonna be playing more Death Stranding. I might have free time of my own, and I'll play it on my own time. But like, I'm going to make it a point to, I guess, essentially steamroll the story, to a point to like just jump ahead, and I'll be streaming that on twitch.tv/Zeldrick. Other than that, I'm gonna think of other stuff to play. And really soon, I will be starting a Final Fantasy VII playthrough. and going through that in preparation for the remake.
Let's see. This week, I'm actually off, fortunately, because we get a week off at work where I don't get paid. So I'll be probably playing some more games, other than having like, a couple of little Thanksgiving things to go to. I'll be playing some more games. I think I'm actually gonna try HalfLife now that y'all tried selling me on it.
Don't say y'all.
See if it
Don't
holds
say
up. I mean, it was Sharpie and
Okay, just
Zeldrick,
make
so
sure-
it still
so-
technically
If
counts.
anything,
No,
just play
okay.
episode 1 and 2 for Half-Life 2. They're short, 4 hours.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys can catch me on I'm streaming on Facebook at no, I'm just joking. I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/unsheathp UNSHEATHEDP.
Thank you everyone for stopping by. I'll probably stream something this week, but most likely just getting stuff ready for the little get together on Saturday. You can check me at lady_infamous415, and thank you for stopping by. We really appreciate it.
And I am Jay Sharpie at twitch.tv/Jay Sharpie. I'm going to be actually, this is Black Friday week, so I'm going to be like hunting for stuff. Like, I'm actually been wanting to build a website, so I've been going on like all these websites, domain services, to see if they have any deals. And then I was like on Envato too, to see if I can start making videos with like crazy like effects and stuff like that. So hopefully those will be all on sale where I can afford and actually use and start creating something for discoverability. Anyways, that is, if you're not already following us here on this podcast, you can subscribe on YouTube now, and you can also do it on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts, and all these other RSS feeds that podcasts offers. We'll be back next week.